Hi, this is Dita from San Leandro. Hi, Brandon. Hi, David. My question is that we continue to not look at both sides of both parties and the parts that they play. And even with in Chicago, Manuel was sitting there, and none of the Democrats came out or even attempted, or even some of these organizations we have, liberal organizations. Nobody stood up. They should have been there on the ground pushing back on Emmanuel. He should have never gotten away with that. And the Democrats just keep on going. They come up with another distraction, and the so-called progressives just bite feet into it and continue with the narrative instead of really doing the work. We went through the chairperson with Perez, and the treasurer sit there in front of everybody and told us that our job is going to be for the corporate people, not the poor people. And we just continue, just brush over it and just go on to a new conversation.
Vita, so what are you? I know you mentioned Rahm at one point and then Perez. What I guess event or topic are you referring to?
I'm talking about when the young man got killed and he held the tape back, and everybody knew that. The Democrats knew that. And they stood by, and our liberal organizations, nobody fought back. None of the Democrats came out and got on TV like they did for Hillary, or go to MSNBC, or Rachel Maddow, Chris Hayes, all those who continue to say that they're progressive, they're liberal, and they want equality, but they don't come out when it's needed. They should be calling some of their coworkers out. For some of the stuff they do. And look at the bills. We've had hundreds of years of bills of laws and policy. And I'm sick and tired of hearing about class. It's about class. It's not about race. Race and class is intertwined. You cannot separate the two.
We got you, Vita. We got you. Brandon's going to reply to you, though.
I'm going to reply real quick. Why don't you reply first, David? Sum up what you got from that, and I'll reply afterwards.
So, yeah, what Vita was referring to was the lip service that politicians, but in this case, we don't expect it from Republicans, but the lip service that Democrats specifically that claim to be progressive, claim to be for the people, claim to be looking out for the best interests. They'll scream Black Lives Matter if they're smart. If they're too cautious, they won't. But they'll scream Black Lives Matter. They'll give out these fancy statements that they're that they're standing up with them, that they're standing in solidarity, that things have to be investigated and looked into. But there's no real action put behind those words, and
absolutely.
She was using the example of, I believe, Laquan McDonald in Chicago when she was mentioning Rahm and Perez.
So for those of you who don't know, and if she hadn't mentioned it, the case of Laquan McDonald became relatively infamous, I would say, after Rahm Emanuel he prevented the tape of McDonald's death from being released until after his reelection. If I'm not mistaken, right? That was the case of Laquan McDonald. So Laquan McDonald was killed by police officers in Chicago, and Rahm Emanuel, as is the case for Rahm Emanuel, decided to sit on the evidence, to sit on the, not release the videotape to the public until after he was reelected. But what David, what Vito was pointing out, what you're bringing up too, is very true, that there exists a performative progressivism within the Democratic Party at all levels, where they go out and they speak this wonderful language, they speak to the concerns of the left, or rather even to the liberal concerns or economic populist concerns, if they even bother with that, and then their actions simply don't match up with that rhetoric. And we see it, we see it from Rahm Emanuel, but we also saw this recently in Cory Booker, who was this progressive darling, the next President Obama, and then he completely just demonstrated his pharma shill bona fides by voting against lowering drug prices or providing competition for drug companies in America. So, performative progressivism has been the strategy of the day for the Democratic Party for a very long time, and it's not going to be until we start actually voting these people out of office that we get group of legislators whose actions match their words. So it's easy to focus on people like Joe Manchin, whose rhetoric is also terrible and whose actions are equally terrible, if not worse. But we also have to start focusing on people whose simple action does not match. Claire McCaskill, again, Cory Booker, anyone really who is not jumping on this Neil Gorsuch filibuster campaign. It's like the entire, over the past few weeks, we've had this entire dog and pony show as it relates to the confirmation hearing surrounding Trump's cabinet, of people coming out asking difficult questions and then retreating and voting anyway, whether that be on the right and on the left. And so we have to start demanding more than simple performative opposition to Trump and even performative progressivism from our legislators to be part of the quote unquote resistance.